Senator Tom Cotton joins us now in studio. Senator, are you optimistic at 4 o'clock today when leadership gets together that they'll realize the urgency of the situation on May 9th and know what happens June 1st and start dealing?
Well, the real question, Brian, is whether Joe Biden gets off his stubborn and unreasonable position that he's not even going to negotiate about spending reforms or other measures that would accompany a debt ceiling increase. Kevin McCarthy and the House Republicans are to be commended for passing a bill that would both raise the debt ceiling in a responsible fashion, but also reduce spending by almost $5 trillion over the next 10 years, which we need to do to address our spending crisis. But Joe Biden, for months now, has said he simply won't sit down to negotiate. It makes me wonder if he or his minders are worried about him sitting down to negotiate one-on-one with Kevin McCarthy and if he's capable of doing that. But the first step is for Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer to recognize that Republicans are now in charge of the House. They've passed a responsible piece of legislation. The Democrats are going to have to negotiate with Speaker McCarthy to reach a responsible outcome here.
I mean, that whole Inflation Reduction Act was supposed to be $368 billion. It's up to about $900 billion. I don't know how you do that. How do you pass something at one level and triple it and not have any ramifications? You now have they've already rounded up almost $1 trillion. We're in May of this year's spending. Why wouldn't they use this as an opportunity to say, hey, party, I'm under the hammer here. I have to start reining things in because we're at $31 trillion in debt. Is that they want to wait 3 weeks? Is this not brinkmanship yet?
Well, what they want to do is keep spending money. But traditionally, when you increase the debt ceiling, it's also a time to look at why you need to increase the debt ceiling. This happened under President Trump. It happened under President Obama, President Bush, President Clinton. It's not unusual to have spending reforms accompany a debt ceiling increase. But I'll tell you what the Democrats are hoping to do secretly. They want to cut defense once again. You know, I'm on the Armed Services Committee. We were supposed to sit down in committee later this month and pass our annual defense bill, which provides troops pay raises, which acquires the weapons and the equipment that we need for our national security and a lot of other important things. Chuck Schumer just demanded that the Armed Services Committee push that off by a month. Why? Because he wants defense cuts to be on the table.
How could he honestly say that we have to take on the challenge of China? Honestly say you have to support Ukraine? Honestly understand that we got to put 1,500 troops at the border, which is symbolism, but costs us money, and cut spending? How could you do that?
It's because it's what Democrats always do when they get into office. They always look at the military as just another government program that they can cut to fund their social welfare schemes and their green dreams that somehow you're going to have electricity or have an electrical grid that runs solely on wind and solar power, yet you're going to electrify everything from cars to stoves to entire homes. This is what Democrats always do. They deprioritize defense spending, which is what Chuck Schumer has done, and they take unreasonable positions on things like the debt ceiling, which is what Joe Biden has done.
Senator, you just mentioned the House did something they didn't think they were going to do, pass something, give an idea of the spending needed in order to cut a deal. They've done it, so Kevin McCarthy is now armed, unlike John Boehner, to go in and deal with the president. In the past, Schumer and Pelosi went up to Trump and said, yeah, you want us to raise the debt ceiling? We want to delay these health care taxes because politically it's not going to be good. We want to increase disaster relief to $90 billion. We also want to increase the spending on domestic programs from education to health care to infrastructure. And Trump did it. Why can't people just call a press conference and say, we just want you to do, when things are reversed, what we did?
Yeah, exactly. That's why Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer's position is completely unreasonable and really unprecedented. The idea that you're going to always increase the debt ceiling with no spending reforms or any other measures included. That is ahistorical. In fact, it's kind of saying that we shouldn't have a debt ceiling, because if every time the debt ceiling is coming up, you just say we're going to lift it, then what's the point of having the debt ceiling as a way to sit down and have a conversation about how we need to address our spending problem?
So your prediction is not much today, but within 3 weeks, there'll be some type of negotiation?
I hope so. You know, I saw Senator McConnell's remarks yesterday that there's no secret plan in the Senate to bail Joe Biden out on this. I can tell you, not only is there not a secret plan, there's not a secret plan to come up with a secret plan. What Joe Biden is going to have to do is sit down with Speaker McCarthy ultimately and reach a responsible solution that increases the debt ceiling, but also addresses our runaway spending.
He's got 36% approval overall for his job and 36% approval on the economy. You would think that would be a wake-up call with the election a year away. Senator Tom Cotton, great to see you in studio.
Thanks, Brian. Good to be back with you.
All right.